Shalom and Shavua Tov, everybody. Welcome to a new week of the Israel Brief with me, Rolene Marks, where you guys join me every Monday to Thursday to take a look at those top stories making headlines in Israel. And you guys come here because, hey, can we really trust the legacy media anymore? And this is where people are coming to hear from journalists like myself, especially those of us who are on the ground and working in Israel. Now, today is a very, very difficult day for us in the state of Israel. Today is day 549, or 18 months to the day since the atrocities of the 7th of October, which I'm going to get into in a minute. We still have 59 hostages being held captive by Hamas and other terror entities inside the Gaza Strip in conditions that are unimaginable and inhuman. We want them all back now. We need them all back now. Every second counts and every voice counts. Every voice that advocates for the plight of our hostages. Make sure that the world does not forget that dark day that happened 18 months ago. Israelis started to mark the 18-month anniversary of the 7th of October. Hostage families gathered outside the Prime Minister's residence in Jerusalem. Now, the Prime Minister is not in the country at the moment. He has flown from Hungary to the United States, where he is meeting with President Trump to discuss, amongst many things, the issue of tariffs, as well as the ICC and Iran. And of course, you can well imagine the hostage deal and a potential ceasefire is high on the agenda. But they read off the 59 names of the hostages that still remain captive. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. These are young men and the bodies of several women who were taken from their residences, some of them from the music festival, the Nova Music Festival, and some of them, yes, soldiers who fought so valiantly for the state of Israel on that Black Sabbath. Among the 59 is also the remains of soldier Hadar Golden, who fell in combat in Operation Protective Edge in 2014. We believe that 24 out of the 59 are still alive, and it is imperative that we get all of them back. The living, that we can start the very long road to rehabilitation and recovery, and the dead, to lay them to eternal rest with dignity that they deserve. Amongst those that are still held hostage are not only Jews, they are foreign nationals, including Bipin Joshi from Nepal, the remains of Joshua Molel from Tanzania, and several Thai hostages whose remains are still held captive. They are hostages of different religions from different countries. This is not just an Israeli issue, this is a humanitarian issue and a global issue, and we want them home now. Israel is also a country is still very, very much mired in the trauma of that day. I don't think that we can start to move on until all our hostages are home and safe, or home and laid to rest. We remember that dark Sabbath, the day of Simchat Torah, which is a joyous time in the Hebrew calendar, in the Jewish calendar, where we start to celebrate the conclusion of the reading of the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, and the start of the next cycle. We won't forget that on the 7th of October at 6:29, Hamas and other terror entities fired thousands of rockets towards Israeli cities, including my own here in Modi'in, and then breached the border, murdering over 1,200 people, taking hostage over 250, and committing crimes against humanity so atrocious. Crimes of mutilation, the desecration of bodies, burning people, sexual violence against men and women, and of course the abduction of so many. It is a day that we saw the single biggest slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust, even though not all the victims were Jewish or even Israeli. The crimes that Hamas, an internationally recognized terrorist organization, committed are crimes against humanity, including the taking of hostages and including psychological warfare. Israel responded on the day by launching Operation Iron Sword, or as we call it in Israel, the Iron Swords War. In what has ensued in the last 18 months has been a brutal war, not just for Palestinian civilians, but for Israelis as well. In the war in Gaza, we have lost over 800 soldiers, about 300 plus who were murdered while fighting for their country on the day, and many others, hundreds others since. We have thousands of soldiers that are wounded, many of whom have lost either one or more limbs. We can't forget about the widows and the orphans and those that lost their precious family members. We can't forget that there were children who were brutally murdered on the 7th of October, like Liel and Yanai Chetzroni, who were only identifiable by the little bone fragments that archaeologists eventually found on the kibbutz Stim where they once lived. The trauma of that day is impacted in the DNA not just of Israelis, but of Jews around the world. And in the wake of the 7th of October, we have seen an unprecedented rise of anti-Semitism, levels that we have not seen since before World War II. It has taken us back to a very dark place in our history, but unlike 80 years ago, we do have a state and we are fighting back. I also want to take this moment to acknowledge all our many allies around the world, many of you who are watching this right now, who are here because you stand with the state of Israel, and here because you want to hear the truth, not what is manufactured and parroted by many in the legacy media who still parrot the Hamas propaganda line. I want to thank you. These last 18 months have been excruciating for us, both in Israel and around the world, and your support means the world to us. I want to just end this moment of acknowledging the last 18 months by praying for the safe and swift return of all of our hostages and for the victory of all our noble soldiers and all of those who work tirelessly around the clock to keep the state of Israel safe from its enemies. Thank you. Last night, Hamas launched 10 rockets towards the cities of Ashkelon and Ashdod. Now, most of them were intercepted by the Iron Dome systems, but at least one fell in Ashkelon and lightly injured a man in his 30s. Meanwhile, the IDF and the Shabak announced that on the weekend they had eliminated the terror mastermind behind the kidnapping and likely murder of Shiri Ariel and Kfir Bibas. Now, we know, according to the forensic pathologists, that Shiri, Ariel and Kfir were strangled with the bare hands of the terrorists who took them. And this is some small sort of justice that we could catch at least one of their murderers and eliminate them. As we've warned, we have very long memories, and all of those who participated in the atrocities of the 7th of October, especially the taking of an innocent family hostage and murdering them, they shall pay a heavy price, and Israel intends to settle the account. Now, Israel has caused some controversy with the British Foreign Minister and many in the Labour government by barring the entrance of 2 Labour Party MPs, Abdissam Mohammed and Wan Yang. The 2 Labour MPs were barred entry into Israel over the weekend because they had engaged in incitement against the Jewish state, including the calling for boycotts and accusing Israel of committing genocide. Now, this has caused a bit of controversy with Foreign Secretary David Lammy, who is very, very upset. And I just want to remind David Lammy that Israel is a sovereign state and we reserve the right to prevent anybody from entering our borders who poses a threat and who supports terror entities. We also have laws in place that make it illegal to call for the boycott and the delegitimization of the State of Israel, which is what your two MPs did. And also, they were not deported. They were offered the opportunity to appeal and even offered the opportunity to be put up in a hotel. But they declined and caught the next flight back to the United Kingdom. I am strengthened by so many around the UK who have shown their support for Israel with regards to this. And a reminder, Israel is a sovereign state, and if you pose a threat to our borders, if your intention is to come into our country and film and taunt our soldiers, we reserve the right to bar you. And finally, a bittersweet way to end today's broadcast, the Hebrew Language Academy have renamed the, I'm going to try and pronounce it correctly, fritillary butterfly. It's a beautiful orange butterfly that is native to the beautiful city of Jerusalem. They've named it Katmi Ariel, Orange Ariel. They renamed this butterfly in honor of Ariel Bibas, who was abducted and murdered in captivity on the 7th of October. The Academy wrote to Yarden Bibas, Ariel's father, and said that they would like to honor him so that his memory will be perpetuated for all time. In the letter to Yarden, they wrote, "May it be a small comfort for you and an everlasting tribute to those who have died in this war." And with that, I will now take the audience question, and it comes from Laurie Frank in Australia, who asks, how does the IDF avoid killing hostages if they don't know where they are? Well, that's a very, very important question, because one of the issues or concerns raised by the hostages' families is that with the expansion and with the resumption of Israel's military campaign in the Gaza Strip, that it could potentially harm the hostages. While the IDF doesn't know where the hostages are, the possibility of them being, the remaining hostages being possibly killed in airstrikes or killed as a result of Hamas taking their frustration or their tempers out on them, as well as the remains of hostages potentially being destroyed in any way through military activity, remains high. So it's, I think, a very, very, very difficult line to walk. But rest assured that the IDF is gathering intelligence all the time. And if they do know the whereabouts of hostages, which of course they won't make public, you can be sure that they will try their utmost to avoid harming them at all costs. So I hope that answers your question. And a reminder, if you have any questions, please pop them in the comments section below. Don't forget, every Thursday I announce your mensch and your moron of the week. And in the meantime, please don't forget to check us out on social media, our website at www.layoftheland.online, our Facebook page at Lottel's site. Our YouTube channel is right here at the Israel Brief. If you haven't already, please hit that red subscribe button. Let's grow our Israel Brief community as much as possible. We're on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, and on X at Lay of the Land 5. Guys, God bless you all. Thank you for always standing with us. Am Israel Chai, the Jewish people live, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.